Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am James Case, and along with my partner, MPO Tanya Borman, your host for today's program. Before we get started, we would like for you to join us for a moment of silence to honor all the men and women who have given their lives in protection of others across our great nation. Thank you. City officials, department directors, friends, family, and distinguished guests, on behalf of Chief James Baker and the men and women of the Virginia Beach Police Department, welcome to the promotion and retirement ceremony. On this special day in the life of our department, we will honor 6 employees for their years of service and recognize 5 employees for promotion. The Virginia Beach Police Department Honor Guard will present our colors, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation delivered by Police Chaplain Al Mentor. Please stand and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Lord, we gather today to honor change. For some, change will mean an advancement in their careers, which will bring more responsibility and new challenges and opportunities. For others, it will mark the end of their career and the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, and hopefully with less responsibility and not as many challenges, but full of opportunity. We recognize that a time of change can be stressful. When things are no longer, when our stability and security are threatened, the fear of the unknown. But Lord, we know with your divine guidance comes peace of mind. We pray this day that you will bless those being promoted, bless them with wisdom, competency, fair-mindedness, and courage to do the right thing in all they do. For those who will be retiring, Lord, we thank you for their years of faithful service and ask that you bless them with new roads to travel, new horizons to explore, and new dreams to call their own. We offer this prayer in your name. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'd like to ask Chief Cervera to come to the podium and make a few opening remarks.
Good afternoon. Okay, this is a happy occasion. It's Friday. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Great. This is a wonderful occasion. It's a very happy occasion. I many times reflect back on when I was notified that you made sergeant. I was on my way to Michigan, taking my wife to visit her family in that other resort town called Detroit. And we stopped on the Ohio Turnpike. Now, this is before cell phones, so I went to a payphone in a rest stop. And I called back to work, and I said, did the sergeant's list come out? And they said, it did. I said, you're number one. And the rest of that trip, I don't think we even used fuel. I think I just on emotion, that entire trip, we made it back and forth. I cannot overemphasize the importance of first-line supervisors. I can't overemphasize the importance of our sergeants in our police department. You are the backbone of the police agency. You form the culture. You form the where the officers, the old saying, the pedal meets the metal. You are the ones who actually get the job accomplished through those officers, those brave men and women that we send out every day. You are the ones who meet the mission of the police department. I often say, you know, when I was a real cop, when I was a sergeant, I was able to help get things done. You are the ones who will proceed in that form. You are the ones who will actually fulfill the mission of our police departments without taking anything against the command staff, the lieutenants and above. But we all know a police agency, you make a police agency or you break a police agency based on what happens on that first line supervision. You have to know how to give enough information to your officers so they can handle the job without being micromanaged, yet you have to also be in command and control at all times. It's an impossible position to always win, but we count on you to do this. We count on you to form that culture, the culture that we have within our organization based on our values. To the retirees, good luck. Some of you I will miss tremendously. All of you I will miss tremendously, but some, well, I'm looking at a few individuals that I worked very close with. And you know, it's really interesting after X number of years to see someone in a workplace. And then I always joke when I see them afterwards. I look and I make the joke. I look at their face and say, you used to work here, didn't you? But you quit. No, you retired. You paid your dues, and you can go out with your heads held high and know that you gave the citizens of our city everything you could for the number of years you were here, and how much we appreciate that. So we'll proceed from now. Let's have a great afternoon. And I see a lot of smiling faces. This is a great afternoon. Thank you.
Our guest speaker this afternoon is the Honorable Mayor William D. Sessoms, Jr.
Well, good afternoon. See, they did better for me, Chief. First try. And I really do want to welcome each and every one of you to a very special occasion today. You know, it's a privilege for me to be able to join you to formally recognize our dedicated officers and personnel who've served in this fine police department and those who are moving up to more responsible positions. Today, we gather to honor officers and civilians who are being promoted. We're here today because you've been recognized for your abilities and for the promise you bring to this great community. Along with the citizens of Virginia's most populous city, I have the utmost confidence in you, and congratulations on your promotion. To all of our retirees, we honor you today because you've served this community well. And that means so much to the citizens of Virginia Beach. We owe you a huge debt of gratitude for your dedicated service to the city and to the Virginia Beach citizens. Congratulations on your retirement. To all of today's honorees, you are perfect examples of professionals with a commitment to service. It is no accident that Virginia Beach has been named the safest city of its size in the United States, and the officers we honor today are sterling examples of why we have earned this honor. Virginia Beach's crime rate today is the lowest it's been since 1963, and much of that credit goes to you, and I thank each and every one of you for that. We're blessed and I hope each and every one of you agree with me, we're blessed to have so many dedicated law enforcement professionals protecting our community. As I say thank you for your dedication and your hard work and your willingness to put yourselves at risk in service to others, I also want to say thank you to your family members who have supported you along the way. It is your support that enables and motivates all of our police officers. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
We will now recognize retirees. When I call your name, please enter the stage to your right. Bring a loved one with you if you would like. MPO Bednar McGraw. MPO McGraw served the department from 1994 to January 1st, 2015. He was assigned to the 2nd Precinct Uniform Division and spent 11 years on a walking beat at the ocean front, served in the 2nd Precinct Property Crimes Unit, served in Special Operations Hit and Run, and eventually went back to the 2nd Precinct Uniform Patrol. He is a general instructor, a training officer, a breath tech, member of Project Lifesaver, among many other certifications. He has 30 letters of appreciation or commendation in his file.
Take my glasses off so I can see. First, I'd like to thank God for watching over me during my career. I thank my parents for instilling a good work ethic in me. Congratulations to all those who are getting promoted, as well as the fellow retirees. You know, I always love wearing that uniform and going to places. And I pull up, get out the car, and knock at the door, and the first thing people would say is like, "You're that actor," and I'm like, "Yeah, Denzel Washington." And they like, "No, the guy that played in Die Hard." And I'm like, "Bruce Willis?" They're like, "No, the guy that played the cop. You know, he plays with Urkel." I'm like, "Carl Winslow." They like, "Yeah, that's the one." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, okay, thank you." But you know, I didn't know what to say until basically this week, and I watched this interesting documentary on public television, and it was titled "The Evolution of a Criminal." It spoke about a young man who progressed from being an honor student in high school to eventually robbing a bank of over $140,000. So I call this my evolution of a police officer. I can remember the incident in my life that steered me to law enforcement. I was about 7 or 8 years old, living in Newark, New Jersey. The school-age kids rode this city school bus to a better school, which was across town. One evening, we were on our way home, and the bus had stopped downtown to let a large number of people on board. And while they were boarding, I heard a passenger yell at someone, "That man is trying to steal your purse." Everyone's attention turned to the would-be criminal, and he pointed to the alert passenger's face and got his finger in her face and said, "People need to mind their own business." You know, at that age, that really affected me. You know, I had fear in me, and I was shaking and crying. I was running back to my older siblings who were back further in the bus, and they're like, "Vitner, what's wrong?" And I said, "I saw a man trying to steal." You know, they said, "So just sit here, and it'll be okay." So while I was sitting there, I was thinking, you know, about what that criminal said. You know, people need to mind their own business. And I said, no, people don't need to mind their own business. they need to get involved. I need to get involved. And I'm going to be a police officer. You know? And from that day forward, whenever the kids played cops and robbers, I had to be a cop. You know, and yes, I always caught the robber. You know? I would watch cop shows, you know, cop shows of my era, like Police Story and Adam 12 and The Sentinel. You know, Portia would tell you when cops start coming on the Fox network, I used to sit there with one hand on the antenna and my foot up so we can get a reception. You know, whenever I was asked when I was young what you wanted to be when you grew up, I stuck my chest out and said, a police officer. You know, my family moved to South Central Virginia in the early 70s, and my dream continued. As I got my driver's license, I would have, you know, the Citizens Band radio in my car, and whenever someone was in trouble or I saw suspicious activity, you know, I'd turn to Channel 9, the emergency channel, and report what was going on. I also remember the incident that would form the kind of police officer I wanted to be. I was about 16 or 17 years old and wanted to talk to someone in law enforcement to find out what direction I should take after high school. The state police did all the law enforcing in the county back then, so I went to their area office. I went inside and met Trooper Troy LaRue. I walked in and only told him that I wanted to talk to him. Before I could say anything else, he introduced himself, asked me to sit down, and asked what he could do to help me. I never had any interaction with the police before then, and his kind gestures impacted me more than he could ever imagine. I still had to wait a few years before I could fulfill my childhood dream. I got married, and I followed my Army officer wife around the world. We lived in different parts of the United States and in Europe. My focus changed from being a police officer to making sure she could be all she could be then. I took a few college courses here and there. I worked in loss prevention for the Army Air Force Exchange Service. I did that for 11 years. Then the time came when I knew I had to make that move to go after my dream and being a police officer. I put in applications and agencies all over the country. I made a promise to God, whomever hires me first is where I'll make my entire career. So I traveled around the country, taking pre-employment tests, and the first agency to hire me was right here in my backyard, the Virginia Beach Police Department. You know, that day, I was so excited to be there at the 18th Academy. Chief Cervera, you're the lieutenant in charge then, you know. However, later that evening, during PT, I worried, what the hell have I gotten myself into? You know? Doing what seemed to be 300 jumping jacks, 100 push-ups, and 100 squats. But I persevered, and graduation day was one of the most proudest moments of my life. My most rewarding assignment as a police officer was a police training officer. I love training new officers. I wanted to instill in them the long arm of the law didn't just reach out to catch the criminal, but it also reached out to help the fallen get up and point in a direction to those who have lost their way in life. I wanted them to know compassion was a major component of that badge that they wore, and the importance of what I call the first contact, the contact an average citizen would have with the police. Through my career, I made lifelong friends. I would like to recognize a few. I thank all the staff at the 2nd Precinct, and special thanks to the day shift, the officers, and the supervisors. You all are second to none. Jerry May, my academy classmate, my bud. You know, the first year I was on the job, Portia was stationed overseas, and you invited me into your home for Thanksgiving dinner. Through working together and your kindness, I came to love you as a sister. And I got to know the wonderful lady in your life, the truck driver, the daredevil, that skydiver, that motorcycle enthusiast, your mother. She was gracious enough to become Vitner's godmother, and I was blessed that she was in my and my family's life, and honored to have cried with you in her passing. I never told you, but in memory of her, I named my motorcycle Mary Ann. Greg May, We shared many evenings working the second shift and discussing issues while taking our meal breaks at IHOP, which had a good half-price deal, by the way. I thank you for being a great friend. Scott and Shannon Wichendahl, I want to thank you both for your friendship and your guidance through my career. And Scott, the times we rode together at the 2nd Precinct brings back lots of funny memories. And I love you, man, even though I know you couldn't be here today. Both of y'all's wit cannot be measured. And whenever I'm around either of you, I don't know what's going to be coming out of your mouths. Sam Thompson, my fellow retiree, thank you for your leadership and friendship. I look forward to sharing a lot more motorcycle rides together as we settle down in retirement. I would like to thank you, Tanya Borbin. You were a great walking beat partner on the ocean front and for recognizing my need for help during my moment of crisis some years ago. I also would like to thank retired Lieutenant Steve Curley, Max Hayden, and retired Sergeant Chris Teff for the same. I would like to thank Deputy Chief Bill Dean. I don't think he's here. After my mother's death, you tracked me down at the home of my mother in Halifax County and called on her house phone to give me your condolences. That little gesture went a long way and gained respect. I always looked forward to any time you were teaching because no matter what the subject matter, you would always make it entertaining. I saved the best for last. I can honestly say that the people that had the most impact on my life, my wife, Portia, and my son, Vitner II. Portia, thank you for your encouragement and support through my career. When I called you after the first week in the academy, and I told you, I think I can get my job back. You replied, what in the world are you thinking about? This is what you always wanted to do, and you're tough, so stay in there to make sure your dreams come true. I didn't know at the time, but she then called all my friends and told them to call me and also give me support. Portia, thank you for putting up with the late hours I had to work, never being off on the holidays during the summer. Thanks for putting up with me talking police talk and pointing out every expired tag and inspection that I saw while I was off duty. Thanks for letting me reach my childhood dream because I can't imagine going through it with anyone else. Vitner, when you were born, like every parent knows, my whole perspective in life changed. I placed my priorities in correct order: family, friends, then the job. I will always remember the day of your 4th birthday. That morning, I was laying in bed crying after finding out a Virginia Beach police officer was killed in the line of duty. You came into my bedroom, and after explaining to you what had happened, you put your arms around me and said, "Daddy, you always make me feel better when I'm crying. Now it's time for me to make you feel better." I guess that was our first father and son moment. I was so touched when you told me recently that you didn't want me to retire because you like telling people that your father's a police officer. Before my eyes, I'm seeing you grow into a wonderful man. Vitner, I'm so proud to be your father. Now that I'm retired, I get to do what every teenager wants a parent to do: spend more time with you. There are just too many people that I can't name you all, and I apologize, but I just want to thank you all.
Mark, Gifford, and Mosley. Mark came to work for the Virginia Beach PD in January 1981 and retired on December 31st. He was part of the 51st session of the Tidewater Regional Criminal Justice Training Center. Mark worked in uniform patrol at the 2nd Precinct, as well as the Detective Warrant Fugitive Squad. Mark has 39 letters of appreciation and commendation in his folder. He is specialized in officer survival, communications, verbal, judo, mobile tactics, taser certified, and radar certified. Mark proudly served the citizens of Virginia Beach for 33 years.
Well, it wasn't just a job, it was an adventure. Had a lot of adventures out here. Had a lot of good times, some scary times, and troubled times. But, I can't believe hardly it is coming to an end. I feel kind of strange about it all. But, the city's changed a lot since I first got on the department. Met a lot of really nice people out here, and met some not so nice people too, but that went with the territory. Being a hometown boy, I just want to say that it's been my honor and privilege to have served this city that I grew up in. Thank you very much.
MPO Deborah Smith. Speaking on Deborah's behalf is Captain Orr.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, folks, for letting me deviate from your script. But Debbie Smith and I have been friends for 30 years, and I wanted to take the opportunity to do the send-off because only the people who've known you for a long time can really get even with you at this moment. And I've got money from all the precinct academies. Debbie Smith started her police career in 1986, back before it was cool to be police, and she has served the city for 29 years. In the time that she got hired, we weren't quite as diligent about our record keeping, and she has served in all 4 precincts, the Marine Patrol boat as a boat captain. She also worked on the jet boats. She was in mounted patrol for several years. She worked off and on in the traffic unit and off and on in professional development and training. She was one of the first driving instructors. She's been a driving instructor for 2.5 decades. Now, to put that into context, most people are looking at retiring after 20 years. She's been teaching people how to drive for that long. As a matter of fact, I think there's some folks on this stage retiring who came through driver education. So when I talk about cone babies, you'll know very close what I'm talking about. She was promoted to Master Police Officer in 1992. And she's also been a radar instructor, crime scene officer, hit and run detective, breath tech, a diver for a period of time, hostage negotiator, skid car, and she is also one of our Stinger Spike instructors. So she's got quite the tactical, traffic-related breadth of instruction. She's been married for almost 34 years to her husband, Paul, with her daughter, Melissa, and the 2 grandchildren here. She's been a loving family member. So right then and there with a 34-year marriage, you know she's not one of your run-of-the-mill cops, because it's the same husband. Some of us have been married that long, but you got to add them all up. Now, some of their yearly evaluations included comments along demonstrated initiative and maintains a high level of motivation, continued interest in learning, motivated to cross-train, proven to be a competent and efficient officer, and a high producer in the area of law enforcement. That's what the official record says. But what the unofficial record exists is that over the course of 30 years, Debbie and I have served in special operations in the fatal accident and the traffic safety unit. And one of the most difficult components of that assignment is delivering death notifications. Debbie and I, of course, we always had to maintain the professional facade, particularly when dealing with these family members. And we had worked out completely inadvertently where once that delivery notice had been made, one would text the other, KDT, and then subsequently as phones got to be more prevalent, call, and meet up somewhere in the road, and for about 5 minutes, one or the other would completely lose it, knowing that that moment was sacred between the 2 of us. You do not understand how important it is to be able to have that moment before you put it all back together, and then you go back out and do your job. Another aspect of that would be maintaining security at a crime scene to the wee hours, because, you know, traffic safety unit was always the extra manpower, and calling somebody to come hold your gun belt for a few minutes because you've been on post for 8 hours and you need a bathroom break really bad. That's trust. I think her latest recruit academies would be talking about cone babies forever. I wanted to put a backwards serpentine cone course up on the stage, but Officers Borman and Kaysen put the nix on that. I would like to cap it off that after a sterling 30-year career, our 2 decades and a half driving instructor, we finally got a brand new borrowed car down at Creed's for some electronic stability control or electronic control stability. The important part of that conversation is brand new car, borrowed from the 1st Precinct. I think we had it about 4 hours when a deer decided to commit suicide by flinging itself on the hood of her car. PD&T is no longer allowed to borrow cars. So, I didn't. No, you sure?
First and foremost, I want to thank my family because they've always been there for me, and all the officers that I've worked with and worked for. It's been an honor and a privilege for me, and I pretty much just want to tell everybody, do the best that you can out here. Always keep your head up, and always have each other's backs. Thank you.
Esther Smith. Esther is assigned to the NCIC VCIN division. She's as a warrant clerk, come to work for the department in September of 2013. With a whole lot of experience in record keeping and knowledge from the Portsmouth Police Department Records Unit. Her colleagues and supervisors always commented on her strong work ethic, positive attitude, and willingness to help others. No speaking? Okay. Come on.
Oop, something just fell off. Okay. I've worked for 3 police departments in my lifetime. Norfolk from 71 to 79. Portsmouth from 2011 to 2013. And then Virginia Beach from 2013 to 2014. Each one built on the other. I'm happy to say that I think that Virginia Beach was the best experience that I've had. And I appreciate each and every one of my mentors, especially Sgt Jones and Lieutenant Chrisman, and each and every one of the people that I worked with. Sometimes an officer will say, it's not necessarily the work I'll miss, it's the people. And in my case, it'll be true. I think I've typed in my lifetime probably 150,000 offense reports. And that's not unusual. But I've enjoyed every bit of what I've done. I've enjoyed helping people. It's been rewarding in a way that nothing else I've ever done has ever been. And I appreciate you recognizing my work. Thank you.
I would be amiss if I didn't recognize her husband, Tom, who's retired from Norfolk Police Department, who has stood by her side since 1972. Laura Stockton. Nani, as she's known to her friends, came to work for the police department in October 1984 and retired in November 2014. Her assignments included the 1st Precinct, summer operations at the 2nd, 4th Precinct, special operations, PD&T, 4th Precinct, and the Detective Bureau at the 2nd Precinct. She's a DCJS instructor, crash investigator, polygraph examiner, first aid and CPR instructor. She has 32 letters of appreciation or commendation in her file. life-saving awards, and class act award.
Well, Vidner, I must say, you've really shown us all a wow. Came here absolutely unprepared to say anything, but Vidner summarized so many of the things that I think all of us retirees would like to say. I've been lots of different places, lots of different assignments. Most of my assignments were in uniform, and it was my absolute first love. I think the funnest job I had was Special Operations and Motor Carrier, just because it was a different kind of law enforcement work, but it was more traffic safety prevention measures versus doing after the fact. That and the fact that not too many female police officers got to crawl around trucks and get all filthy dirty. So I thought that was fun. The most challenging job I had was at PD&T as the selection officer. It was the most challenging and also I think the most rewarding position that I had. But it's really kind of hard to pick anything favorite because I love them all. I loved doing the ocean front. I loved riding the motorcycles. I liked being in the detective bureau. I liked being a polygraph examiner. They were all my favorites, and I enjoyed them all when I was at each one. But what made it most fun was all the people that I worked with. I can't think of any coworker I had that I regret working with or that I didn't like. And Virginia Beach truly is got the best law enforcement anywhere. Thank you.
Samuel Thompson. Sam began his career in public safety when he joined the United States Air Force in 1982. After the Air Force, he went to work for Norfolk Police Department. And then, as he put it, he saw the light and came to Virginia Beach in 1986. He worked out of the 2nd Precinct Property Crimes Unit, worked as an auto theft detective, was promoted to sergeant in 1999, worked the 2nd Precinct as a supervisor, transferred back to the 1st Precinct, was also assigned to the Detective Bureau, and also joined the U.S. Coast Guard Reserves. Sam has 39 letters of appreciation or commendation in his file, numerous class act awards, life-saving medal, and letter of appreciation from the United States Navy for outstanding efforts in response to the F-118 crash in April of 2012.
All right, for those that know me, I have a tendency to talk loud and go into like a slow mumble. So if that's the case, just tell me, hey, speak up. You know, dispatcher's been telling me that for years. But anyway, I started my career basically in Norfolk in 1986. I came here to the beach in 1988, and at that point, I rode for 2 days, threw my application back in to go back to the city of Norfolk, got rehired with Norfolk. The day I was supposed to show up, I decided, I better stay with the beach. I think I could have a little bit better outcome. So I did, and you know, I was able to retire. I'm not quite sure how, but I was able to retire and retired to the rank of sergeant. The people that made my job, of course, my wife, she was able to put up with me, still putting up with me. She hasn't worked me to death yet, and anyway, like I said, she's basically been the light of my life. Also, my 2 sons, and at that point, like I said, both of them work for the sheriff's office. Someone might say it's on the brown side, but it's still blue, but they're still in law, well, one's in law enforcement, the other one works there. So I'm very proud of my 2 sons, Shane and Jason. So Vidner gave a great speech for everybody, and at that point, he pretty much covered everything, just like Nani, everybody else said on this thing. I think my biggest enjoyment is probably working robbery, and I'll call him Tony Zuccaro. He was a friend, still is a good friend. He was a great leader in robbery, and he taught me a lot as far as investigations, what he expected, and at that point, I think it made me a better detective all the way around. It also gave me some inside scoop of being a supervisor and what to expect from my employees and what the employees should expect from me as being a supervisor. For the new supervisors, the only thing I can wish you well in your endeavors. The main thing is just remember, treat everybody basically as an equal. You are their supervisor. You don't have to put the stripes on every time. At that point, you don't have to rush into that code 2. You should develop your officers and let them move further on in their careers to take your place as you move up the rank or retire. You should be training them. That's my words of wisdom. Not much, but just a little bit. But otherwise, once again, thanks for everything. Thanks, Marcia, for trying to understand all those PD3s that we had to tape at the time in the Steno pool. I'm sure you probably pulled your hair out a million times dealing with me. So, but once again, thank you very much. It's been a great career.
Now for the promotions and presentation of credentials. When I call your name, please enter the stage from the right. You can bring loved ones with you if you wish to join you on stage. Precinct Desk Officer Jung Pritchard. Jung grew up in Portsmouth, Virginia. Came to work for the Virginia Beach PD in 2010. She has a BA in Organizational Management from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. She's been assigned to police services from 2010 through October of 2014, currently assigned to the 3rd Precinct. She has 7 letters of appreciation with Crime Solvers tips leading to 10 arrests. She's promoted to Precinct Desk Officer 10/7/14. Planning and Analysis Coordinator, Afton Oglesby. Afton grew up in New Jersey, or was born in New Jersey, but grew up in Virginia Beach. Was hired in February of 2007. She has a master's in public administration and bachelor's in philosophy and legal emphasis. Her assignments have included Public Safety Analyst 1 and 2. In 2004, she was named Who's Who in American University and Colleges, promoted in October as coordinator with the Office of Planning and Analysis.
This is my mini-me. The word's out, I'm born in New Jersey. I try to keep that under wraps for as many years as possible, but I just want to say thank you to my family for supporting me and to the command staff for the opportunity to lead. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next few years. And if you ever need anything, you know where to find me.
Sergeant Tony Avella. Joining Tony on stage is his daughter Lauren. Tony grew up in Virginia Beach, came to work for Virginia Beach PD in September of 1996. He attended St. Leo University, where he has a BA in criminal justice. His assignments have included 3rd Precinct, Special Investigations, Narcotics Detective, Law Enforcement Training Academy, Professional Standards, 1st Precinct Property Crimes Unit. He is a general instructor, defensive tactics instructor, ASP instructor, and law fitness instructor. He has 20 letters of appreciation or accommodation in his file. 2 Class Act Awards, SI Detective of the Quarter, and the Clyde Hathaway Memorial Award. Promoted MPO in 2002 and Sergeant in 2014.
I just wanted to thank everybody for all that they've done in making this day possible. The retirees, thank you for your time and service with the city and the department. My family, my wife, Tony, my daughters, Lauren, Isabel, and Kamea, our families and friends for your guidance, support, and patience throughout the process. Chief and command staff for your confidence in promoting Sergeants Mike Baker, Rich Cheatham, and myself. Thank you for showing up and supporting us.
Sgt James Baker. Joining Sergeant Baker on stage would be his wife Nicole and children. Sergeant Baker grew up in Virginia Beach, came to work for the PD in August of 1998. He has an associate's degree from St. Leo's University in liberal arts. He's been assigned to the 1st, 2nd, 4th Precinct, been assigned to Special Operations, SID Narcotics, Robbery Detective, Property Crimes Unit, and the Palm Unit. He is CIT certified and part of Project Lifesaver. He's also received the Life Saving Award, MAD recognition for a total of 180 DUI arrests in 2008, Detective of the Quarter 3 times, and a Special Commendation Award 3 times.
I want to thank everybody for being here. It's an honor and it's a pleasure. Chief, thank you. Mayor, Deputy Chief, Zakara, Bell, appreciate you guys being here and giving me this opportunity. I want to give recognition to my wife as well as my children and my family members. My 2 sisters are here, and father-in-law, mother-in-law, my nephews, for being supportive throughout my career. It's meant a lot, and it's propelled me to this position here today. Nicole, you are my rock and everything to me, and I do appreciate it. Chief Cervera, Deputy Chief Cervera, and Deputy Chief Zukara, or Cervera and Zukara. You know, presented. Yes, I'm sorry. All right. It's an honor to be selected and to be a police sergeant and represent the police department as well as the city of Virginia Beach and the citizens. I'm humbled that you've placed this faith and trust in me. The responsibility I do not take lightly, and I will endeavor to represent the department with the utmost transparency and boldness. Just a little bit about my career. I've been on the department 15 plus years. I've learned a lot, gained a lot of experience, and had the opportunity to do many things on this department. I've worked with a lot of really good supervisors, from captains to lieutenants to sergeants, and they've taught me a lot, and they've inspired me to this position. I want to acknowledge a few of these leaders. The first one that I encountered, he was an MPO at the time. He is now Captain Tony Yarborough. He was my academy instructor. I left the job of 13 years to join the police department. And my first 5 minutes at the academy, I was standing on line with my fellow classmates, and he came to me and he said, "Recruit Baker, you have no college, you have no prior experience, you have no military, you will not make it." At that point in time, I thought to myself, what did I get myself into? I had left the job of 13 years, making 60,000 plus, and here I stand making 28 with this man yelling at me, telling me I will not make it. But because of you, you made me a stronger person, man, and officer, and I do appreciate it. Sergeant Mike Cook, he's since retired. He was my first supervisor, one of my first supervisors, and he was tremendous in my learning experience in my career thus far. He was not only a mentor, but he was a father figure, and he was always upbeat and positive. Retired Lieutenant Backman, I worked for him at the 4th Precinct Special Operation, and throughout my career, he was very supportive, giving me guidance and pointing me in the right direction. I learned early on that Lieutenant Backman was someone that you didn't want to cross. He was firm but fair, and he supported me in my goals and aspirations. Sergeant Greg Gonda, who's here today, and I do appreciate it. He's one of my best friends on the department. I've had the fortunate opportunity to work with him twice, once as a community police officer and then in the robbery unit. He was a great supervisor, a true mentor, guide, and friend, and I value our friendship and our working relationship. Last but not least, I saw her today as I was walking out of the precinct, and I told her that I was going to mention her. Captain Laura Kaiser. I've known her for many years, worked for her on several occasions, and have always found her inspiring. I found myself inspired by the ease of her management style and her ability to lead. And oh yeah, not to mention, she is by far the funniest supervisor I've ever worked for. Last but not least, Scott Wichendall. I've known him the least amount of time, but however, he has had the most impact and influence on me as an officer and a person. He has inspired me and motivated me to become a better leader, a better person and officer. Scott is a great leader, mentor, role model, and a friend. I consider it an honor to have Scott in my life, personally and professionally. Not to mention, he's my wife's BFF. Scott cares, and it shows. He's one you can confide in and about anything, and he actually listens and cares. He does not judge, nor does he beat you down, but he guides, directs, and supports you. He is a true leader, and he has no problem in telling you that you've screwed up, but he does it in a nice way. That's my time for now. I must move on and continue to push forward to serve this fine city. I do appreciate everybody's attention and for you being here. God bless and take care.
Sgt Richard Cheatham. Joining Rich on stage is his father-in-law, Nick O'Malley. Rich grew up in Virginia Beach and came to work for the PD in 1998. He attended TCC and Bluefield, as well as Bluefield College, and has a degree in criminal justice. His assignments have been the 2nd Precinct, COP, truancy abatement, and the Law Enforcement Training Academy, as well as the 1st Precinct. His specialized training as general instructor, defensive tactics instructor, taser instructor, and attended West Point leadership. He has 2 life-saving awards, 1 life-saving commendation, and was named Officer of the Quarter. Promoted to MPO in 2004 and Sergeant in 2015.
I'd like to say, as everybody else, thank you for everybody showing up. I know it means a lot to my fellow sergeants. Mike's my classmate. Tony and I work together here at LEDA, so it means a lot to us. Thank you to all the retirees. I worked with many of y'all. I followed in your steps. Hopefully not too much longer I can continue following. To the command staff, thank you for showing up. We do appreciate. Chief, deputy chiefs, thank you for the support, the confidence, and the faith in promoting me. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my wife, Donna. 26 years she's been supporting me, putting me out the door, behind me every step of the way, urging me to go forward when I didn't think I had it. Always walking on my left side, never holding my right hand, never let me sit not facing the door where we went. To my kids, for the 14 years they've sacrificed holidays, birthdays, sporting events, daddy time, but never let me leave the house without saying, watch your back. I love you both. To my extended family, you've been supportive throughout. Prior to law enforcement, in law enforcement, you not only supported me, but all the police officers. You've never failed to call me when you heard something happen and make sure I was all right, even if it was 2 o'clock in the morning and I was asleep. I love you. To all my friends and family, I thank you. Supervisors that I've come up through the ways, I've learned from each and every one of you. Sam, you taught me a lot. I hope I can carry some of what you taught me on to some of my subordinates. Now, Captain Yarborough, you started this train wreck, so you can be held accountable. I'd also like to, 3 officers that really shaped me. Sergeant Gonda, he was one of my training officers. Retired Officer Chili Williams and Retired Officer John Tozlowski. They taught me how to do the job, but more importantly, they taught me what it meant to be a real police officer and to be a cop's cop. I trained my trainees the way they trained me. I'm here because of y'all, so thank you very much. Chief, thank you again.
I'd like to ask each of the newly promoted sergeants to return to the stage so Mayor Sessoms can administer the oath of honor.
Thank you. If y'all could raise your right hand, please. State after me. On my honor, I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution and the community I serve. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our program. Thank you for joining us today for this special occasion. Congratulations to the newly promoted and best wishes to those of you that are retiring. We would like to thank Ms. Moira Wright, Jenny Page, Ms. Joanne Weger, Michelle Ferrante, and Julie Ritz for their assistance in preparing today's program. And following the benediction, Chief Cervera would like to cordially invite you to take part in some refreshments across the hallway in the cafeteria. Chaplain.
Please stand. Let us pray. God, we remember you not often enough, but always gratefully. We remember you now and lift to you our thanks for your continuing love and care for the individuals we have recognized here today. Watch over them, guide them, and protect them and their families. As you are ever generous to us, providing for the needs both of our bodies and our spirits, help us to be ever generous towards one another, serving one another. In your name, amen.